Well, I do videos, but I've never done any on LinkedIn.
Hmm. Okay.
It just
Um,
wasn't something, I don't know, just wasn't something that crossed my mind. I just, had uploaded different pictures and stuff, but I do have, some videos I could.
yeah, LinkedIn is really leaning toward videos.
Okay.
So and you don't necessarily need to do them with your phone. I mean, you can download them to your computer and then upload them to LinkedIn. That's entirely up to you.
Okay.
But videos have become really popular and they're very dynamic. So I would consider that as well.
Okay.
And so after that, you have under experience volunteer. Okay, so you're currently doing that.
Right.
So the question is why do you list it under experience and not your volunteer area?
You know what? I really don't know what, because I went back and I looked one day and I said, okay, there's two volunteer sections, and I think when I was just putting those in, I just
Hmm.
put them in there. But yeah, they need to go into my volunteer section.
Yeah, because you have been currently working for yourself for 8 years, so
Yeah.
you know, and then prior to that, actually, you so it appears that you just stopped working at the Child Advocacy Center
I was a
as a
volunteer there.
volunteer there.
Yeah.
Okay, just trying to
Yeah.
follow your
I know.
work
I'm just
history.
looking now because I don't see any of my other experience.
Well, if we click on show two more,
Yeah, but see, that's all volunteer. Okay, so
Providence College. Okay,
yeah,
Providence College. You work there.
I work there.
Okay. Okay, so you worked there for 6 years. That's good.
Hmm.
Again, you may want to provide some kind of job summary or job scope before you go into
Okay.
the bullets. And the pluses aren't bad. They're certainly much better than the small little dots,
Okay.
or rather the numbers. So again, adding space between those lines.
So that should be moved up where my underneath my where my business is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The problem though is that since you've put that volunteer experience in your experience area,
Uh-huh.
and that you've got dates to them, then that means that you can't move up Providence College because you
Oh,
did
okay.
that prior to all the volunteer experience.
Can I delete that volunteer experience and re-enter it?
Yeah, yeah, you would just do that in the volunteer section.
Okay.
Okay. Providence College in Rhode Island.
Yes, that's home for me.
Wow, that's home for you.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, in the East Providence School District. Very good.
Yeah.
So, how is it going with you teaching, middle school age kids LinkedIn and then the job search? How are they
Well,
taking to that?
well, the kids that you doing it with are my high school kids.
Uh huh.
And actually, it's going pretty good because one young lady, I mean, she's like a big social activist and stuff,
Yeah.
and she's been in her local newspaper, and
Mm.
she's testified before the state legislatures on school issues, and
Hmm.
she has video of it. And I said, you need to create a LinkedIn, and that needs to be on there.
Yeah.
So she did. So we worked through it, and so she's got it up there. But I told her, I said, there's some other stuff I need you to do.
Hmm.
And one of my students that I worked with, I had told him to create a LinkedIn, and he said he was going to, and he's in his first year at the University of Michigan,
Yeah.
and the other night he actually sent me a connection to connect with him on
Oh,
LinkedIn.
cool. Cool.
I said,
Good.
"Oh, look at this!"
Yeah.
So I said he was listening.
Yeah. So they do. They listen. They may
Yeah.
not act on it immediately, but they do listen. Okay. So there's your education. You can even elaborate on your education. In other
Okay.
words, describe what was going on at that time. One thing I like to mention that if you happen to earn a degree while you were working full time,
Yes.
that's an accomplishment, and
Okay.
that's something you should add to your education if that's the case.
Oh yeah, it was both my master's and my doctorate.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Very good. Oh, and were you raising children too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a double whammy, right?
They were actually grown by the time I did my doctorate because I just did my doctorate. I just finished that in 2010.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that shows real good time management skills, dedication.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Linda's joined us.
Yeah, for some reason I had it on my calendar for 7:30, so I
Did I see
apologize.
7:30?
I don't
The
know, but
correspondences?
I don't know. My life has been a little chaotic lately, so it's probably my mistake.
All right. Well,
I apologize.
I'm almost done with Belinda's, but we'll get to yours. So you have some licenses and certifications.
Yeah.
That's good. And there was some discussion about whether to include those. Who was talking about if they should include their licenses and certifications? Was that you, Belinda, or Linda?
So I think someone commented,
Yes.
it might have been Sabine or Giselle, I'm not sure. And then I just agreed that I think certifications are important. I mean, unless it's something completely unrelated to what you do.
Right. Right.
But I just think that they lend credibility.
Oh yeah.
That's what I found in clients that work with me. So
Okay. Okay. Belinda, can you see us?
I can't see Linda.
I can't
hold
see
on.
Linda either.
Hold on. For some reason, my camera was turned off. Here I am.
There you are. Okay.
Hey.
But I should be able to see both of you.
You can't?
Okay. So when you're talking, then I can see you. But if
Right.
Linda were to talk, then I would see her.
Yeah, it'll
Right.
split over.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So you can put it on like either gallery or speaker. Depends on what you have it set on.
Oh, okay. I'm learning as I go along.
Yeah.
Now, okay. So all that volunteer experience, I would just bring it down to the volunteer section.
Okay.
You know, in that way, people would get a more accurate idea of your work history.
So I have a question. So like the first volunteer thing I have up there is board of trustees for the library.
Mm-hmm.
But just this last month, I'm now the vice chair of the board. So is that an additional bullet or an additional ad, or do I just not even bother putting that?
Oh no, I mean if you're the vice chair now.
Yeah.
No, I would definitely add that.
Okay.
I wouldn't add it as a separate. I wouldn't add it as another volunteer experience.
Okay, just add it in there.
Right, because you're really heavy on the volunteer experience. So when you drop those other ones down to here, then you're going to have a lot of volunteer experience there.
Okay.
Okay, so endorsements, good. Now, have you been endorsing people?
Not as much as I should. I went back and looked, and I said, "Oh, I really haven't done that a lot."
Right, because if you endorse people, then they're likely to endorse you back.
Okay.
Now, what people generally do when they give endorsements is they endorse the top 3 and they don't bother to look below to see what else is there.
Okay.
So I looked to see what else you have as skills, and you have a lot of good skills here. But what you also want to consider is, do you want those top 3 to be the ones people endorse you for, or would you rather have them endorse you for some other skills?
Yeah, like the one up there, what does it say? Staff development. Well, see, that's what I did at Providence College, a lot of professional development for counselors. But I'd rather have more education. I'd rather have educational consulting.
Okay. So then what you would need to do, and I'm sure you know this, right? You know how to move your skills about?
No, I don't really.
Okay. So what you need to do is you need to go to, okay, see where that pencil is right here?
Yeah.
Now I'm on my profile.
Yeah.
Click on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you need to do is unpin one of the skills above.
Okay.
So let's say you want to move blogging down.
Okay.
Or I do. And then I'm going to pin, let's say, resume writing. So there I have the top 3.
Okay.
Right?
So
Yep.
did it just automatically pop in the next one, or how did that happen?
Yeah, and then if I want resume writing to appear above the other 3,
Oh, okay, got
the
it.
other 2 rather, then I can just move it about.
Just move in there. Okay.
But it's not until you unpin something.
Okay. Because
You
it
know,
only
honestly-
lets you do 3, right?
Yeah, it'll only allow you to show 3, whereas before you could show as many as you wanted.
I think 3 is too limiting.
It
Not
is.
that you can do anything about that, but it just seems like maybe
know.
5 would be a good number. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be that we could see almost all the skills, if not all of them. So you see how I moved MBTI back up to the top.
Okay.
So recommendations. Let's see, where are you? Okay, so you received a good number of recommendations. What I would try to do more, Belinda, is I would try to write recommendations for other people.
Okay.
Okay, because that shows your willingness to network, and to promote other people. I like to see pretty much an even balance. I mean, it's probably better to have received more recommendations, but you also need to give recommendations.
Yeah.
And don't be asked, don't wait to be asked, by people for recommendations, because they may just not be, they may be shy or they don't know how to ask. You can just write a recommendation for someone and send it their way.
All right. That's good.
Okay. So under accomplishments, and here's where I think LinkedIn really dropped the ball, is they put all of these great types of accomplishments like organizations, and you have honors and awards, but there's also projects. I mean, people have worked on major projects,
Yeah.
and they're proud of those, and yet now they're anchored down near the bottom. So I think LinkedIn did people an injustice in that way. So interest, to be honest with you, I don't think people even make it down this far. I certainly don't. I mean, I'm just, in doing this kind of critique, I'm just looking at some of your interest. It used to be, when groups was strong, that if you wanted to communicate with someone in a certain group, then you could join that group and then have access to that person. But that's no longer the case.
I know they really changed groups. I don't like the way it is now.
Yeah, I think groups are on their way out, to be honest with you.
So Bob, when you're done with Belinda's, can you explain a little bit? Because I'm unclear about what you actually can and can't do with groups now.
Okay.
That used to be one of my favorite parts of LinkedIn.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite parts too.
Yeah.
Okay. So any questions, Belinda, about this?
No, this was really helpful because I knew I needed to do things, that something needed to change up, but I wasn't quite sure what I needed to do. So.
Well, no, I mean, I think you start out with a real big bang with the background image and your photo. That's very good.
I love the background photo.
Don't you?
Love it.
Well, actually, one of the articles that Bob had us read.
Right. It had, that woman had the photo like that.
So I said, let me go on Canva and see if I can create one of these.
Yeah, and in about 5 seconds, you created that and had it up. I was so impressed.
How did you do that? Did you use Photoshop for that?
No, Canva, which is a free program.
Oh, okay.
Posting. They actually have a template that says LinkedIn banner.
No, okay. Yeah, whenever I tell people, to look up banners, I just say Google LinkedIn banners or Google
that's what I do.
Background images, and sure enough, you can get some stock photography. But so one strong encouragement is that you start to do more videos, or if you have videos, then you post them, on LinkedIn. Okay.
Yep.
Because I don't think enough people really utilize the rich media areas.
No.
Under the summary, experience, and education. But
so I do like I do a Facebook Live every Monday night.
Oh, you do? Okay.
So I have all those videos.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I mean. Okay.
So I noticed in looking at a number of profiles that where it has, media and videos, that when you click on it, just as you did on that one, it's not actually a video, it's a static photo.
Right.
So is that okay to do that? Not okay? I mean,
well, that's fine, because LinkedIn doesn't allow you to just post photos, anywhere other than the rich media area.
Okay, got it.
Like if, for instance, if you use WordPress for blogging, you can, or even if you use the LinkedIn's blogging feature, you can post art, you can post photos within those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In that way, And in many ways, LinkedIn is limited, but particularly in that way.
Okay.
Okay. So Linda, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to have enough energy to do Ray's because I've actually been on here since about 6:45, but in any case, let's go to Linda. All right. Okay. So the idea behind the background image.
The idea behind the background image was to find something that was happy,
Mm-hmm.
colorful, but not sort of crazy color, and just was maybe complementary for my skin tone, hair color. You know, sometimes you see background photos, sometimes it's like, it sort of doesn't work. Someone has red hair or they've got a purple thing. You know, it's only recently that I've seen people talk about it should be related to your industry. But in thinking about that, I just don't know how, what image I would put that says career counseling.
Right. That's
so
tough.
I was just trying to go with sort of a positive, upbeat vibe with that image.
What I say is that, you know, your profile is about your personality too. So
Mm-hmm.
if this is your personality, if this is what really you're drawn to, then that's fine. I don't think that the background image necessarily has to do with your industry. I have this as mine, but it's you know, stock photography, and
Right.
people have seen it elsewhere. So
Right.
someday I'm gonna really try to brand myself with a better background image.
So, my impression when I looked at your profile,
Mm-hmm.
sorry for critiquing you, but I felt like you have a great headshot, and I felt like the people distracted from, maybe it's the size of the people, the number of the people, I'm not sure, but I felt like, wow, he's got this great headshot, but now my eye is drawn to looking at all these other faces.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. I kind of feel a little lost in those
Yeah.
people. Maybe there are too many people there.
Well, and also you're below them. You know, the way the background image is set up is like you're below them. So
Yeah.
if our eye is drawn to the top, I don't know. I like
Well,
that.
you remember when the photo was in the middle?
Yes, I do.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that would have been better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you finally got your photo visible. That's good because it's a great photo.
No, it's always been visible. I just don't know where I have it saved, so I wasn't able to put it. I couldn't find it.
You know what it was? Well, you know what it was is it wasn't visible to the public. It was visible to.
Yeah, it was. It's always been.
Really?
Yeah. No, I didn't change anything this week. I think that was somebody else.
Was that someone else?
Yeah. No, mine was always visible to the public. I was the one who couldn't find a photo to upload to the Haiku site.
Okay. All right. So you own your own business then?
Yeah. So I've been doing private practice for 4 years.
Okay.
A little over 4 years.
So if I go into contact info, not many people go into contact info. But when I do, I like to see if you have a website that you can list it there.
I don't have a website, sadly. It's in my goals every year, but I don't have one. I'm listed in a Psychology Today directory and another coach directory.
Okay. But your email is visible to everyone, correct?
I didn't think so, but I guess it is since you just clicked on it and found it.
Well, no, I mean, since you and I are connected, I'm privy to it. But
I think it's not visible to everyone.
Okay, so you may want to make it visible to everyone. And the reason I say this is because if you want business, then people who are your second and third degrees need to be able to see your email address, if that's how you prefer to be contacted. Belinda, she's bold. Belinda, you still there? Oh, yeah. She's got her telephone number listed in her contact.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like that. Okay, so how many connections do you have?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Okay, but it shows 500 plus.
Yeah, maybe
that's good.
700. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So this summary I created probably 4 years ago. I think I may have tweaked it a bit here and there, but essentially it's been the same for a while, and I feel like it's time to really take a hard look at it. Same thing with the headline. And
Well, I'll tell you a little secret of my own. I haven't changed my summary in maybe 4 years.
yeah,
don't know.
and the headline, I went with sort of more like the elevator pitch style headline as opposed to the different job categories. But I don't know what your thoughts are.
One
on
or the
that.
other, one or the other is fine. If you're more interested in being found, then a keyword-rich headline is better. But a lot of people are drawn to, taglines or value statements, and so, yours is a value statement. And
Right. Okay. But you think, because actually I think only I think a couple of months ago, someone contacted me and I always ask people, how did you hear about me? And this person said they were, I don't know if they were on LinkedIn searching, but this was, I think, the only person in 4 years that said they found me on LinkedIn. No one ever finds me that way. When they Google me, up comes the Psychology Today directory.
Yeah.
And I'm, in that listing, and I'm one of the few career counselors in the area. So LinkedIn doesn't ever, once in 4 years, it brought me a client.
Yeah. Well, you're going to find that, first of all, it takes time, but also it's a combination of having a strong profile, a good network, and also engaging on LinkedIn. And I was talking to Belinda before you came on. She's been pretty active on LinkedIn as of late, but I've noticed maybe a couple of weeks ago or so where she wasn't as active as she has been recently.
Right.
But it's all about that. It's about engaging with your network,
Right.
and the more you do that, the more top of mind you're going to be for people.
Right.
Okay, so yours is a story type summary, which is fine. That's some people. Crap. Give me a second, will you?
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I had to decline my brother.
That's tough.
I'll get back to him, yeah. So the other thing you may consider is, in between these paragraphs, maybe if you have any kind of outstanding highlights, something that you're very proud of, you may insert them, but we need to keep in mind that we only have 2,000 characters for the whole summary. So if you were thinking of doing something with your summary, then that might be something to do.
So what can you give me an example?
Well, yeah. So in mine, what I do is I go with the keyword type headline, and then I try to follow it closely in my summary. And quite honestly, this is how I teach beginners how to write their summary. But I think it works because there you have the headers, so job search strategy. And there I have, say, consistently achieve excellent ratings on workshop evaluations. So that's a highlight or an accomplishment. Design advanced workshops and edit existing ones to meet customers' needs. So then that would be a highlight.
Right. Got it.
Initiated and led and lead a job club which has exceeded capacity. So that's what I mean by
Got it. Okay. So, when I teach people to do summaries, I definitely think that I push the narrative more. I do tell them you can certainly do bulleted items. You can call out skills. I actually taught a webinar today on LinkedIn to a group of early career professionals, that really basic stuff for them, because they're all intimidated about even having a profile.
Right.
And I showed them a really great profile of someone I know, a young professional who combines the storytelling narrative and then calls out some core competencies. But I feel like, this is the one area where you get to talk in your voice, and you don't get to do that on a resume, which is why I usually encourage people to use more of a narrative.
Sure.
But I guess in making sure that you're using a lot of keywords in your stories. I don't know what your thought is on that.
Well, the summary, yeah, the keywords do count in the summary, but not
Mm-hmm.
as much as they do in the headline or the
Mm-hmm.
titles. Oh, Belinda, that's something I didn't mention, but I'll mention it with Linda, is that in your experience area, see where your title board certified career counselor and job search coach.
Uh-huh.
Um, this area right here is weighed very heavily in terms of keywords. So you
Okay.
can even add to that, you can add some maybe areas of expertise. Let's say your population, you specialize in college or university kids. Maybe it's older workers, but anything that you feel people would be looking for you, the words they would be looking for.
So you're saying the keywords count most in the headline and in the job titles?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But what I like about your summary is that it's very readable. In other words, your paragraphs are not too dense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have 14 mutual connections. So this is where I'm going to see how active you've been on LinkedIn.
I'm not. I comment on Jim's posts and a couple of other people.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah.
Well, if you comment on posts, then that's good.
Mm-hmm. I do.
If you're only sharing and that's it, you're not commenting, then that's not really engaging. That's just simply being active.
Okay.
But if you comment, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't ever post anything. Oh, did I post?
Oh no,
something?
you did. You posted. You posted this.
When was that? Probably I don't know, months ago, maybe.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So more of this. So
yes.
more of the post. And if you really want to get daring, write an article.
Right.
And start there. And I'm sure you have a lot of good advice to give people. So I would, write articles. It's going to be slow at first. You're not going to get 1 million likes at first, but as people get to see your writing and as you are consistent with it, then they're going to expect to see you in their timeline. That's.
So when you recommend, and I think it might have been in one of the articles you included or maybe in the video, but what is sort of the range of the frequency of articles in order for it to be useful?
I would say earlier I would have said maybe every other week, but now I get around to it once a month. But what I really do is I repurpose or I just recycle some articles I've written for my own blog.
So you think once a month yields a pretty good result? A pretty good result,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you really good about it every other week, but that's a lot.
Right. Okay.
It just makes me think of one poor lady out there who's been putting out these videos and getting one like, for each video. And she's really busting her butt doing this. I don't know what it is. I mean, she's got good advice, but it's just not happening for her.
So the activity brings you up in the rankings. Is that kind of the reason
Yes.
you're doing it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. There are three areas, and we're going to be going into the next one next week, and that's networking. Who is in your network is very important. You have to have a very focused network, although a pretty large one. And you two have a good number of people in your networks. And then, as we've been talking about, engaging with your network. So that's important as well. It takes a while, to get established. I don't know how long you've been on LinkedIn.
I've been on LinkedIn since 2007 because I was working at a college and, we had to start teaching
right
students about it. So I've been on it for a long time, but really using it as a tool for students and now my clients, not because I'm looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I just haven't really been that active for my own personal purposes, but I understand that that's really a missed opportunity on my part.
I like your description for your business.
Thank you.
I like the way you begin with questions, sort of piquing their interest.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talk about your approach. So that's sort of like, is that who is that?
That's my
Okay.
phone in the background. Sorry, it's a landline and I can't make it stop. I'm not close enough to it.
Throw a pillow at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this personal approach you have here. Linda, you still there?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm still here too.
Okay, you see how Linda's, uses first person point of view even in
Yeah.
her experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I like with myself, I try to do it in my experience. I write, I'm more than a workshop facilitator and
Mhm.
designer, blah, blah, blah. So, you can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere on your profile.
Okay.
Oops, wrong one. Where do we go? There we go. Okay, so how are they going to contact you?
So that's where I tell people to find me because you're not allowed to put links on.
Yeah, but you can list your email. Do you want to be contacted via email?
I could, but I'd prefer not to have my email be public.
Okay.
So that's what I did this morning. I did a webinar for this group. And, it's something that I'd like to do more of.
Mhm.
Obviously, because I've got them developed and it's easy to tweak them for different audiences.
Sure.
But I just also, it's nice variety to do them. So I do them live for this group.
What software do you use?
We use Zoom.
Zoom? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we use Zoom.
Oh, you should be telling me how to run this then.
I don't pretend to be an expert.
Lafayette College, good. Yeah, I like your writing. It's good. Here, I would break up this paragraph.
Yeah, that is long.
Just to make it more readable.
That is long.
Like here, you could say, you could put a paragraph break here.
Right.
Comprehensive
Yep.
counseling program
Yep.
consists.
That's a great catch.
Engaged over 80%. Good. That's good. So that would be, maybe that would be a bullet for an accomplishment. For 5 years in a row, our program was ranked as top 20. That's another bullet. Yeah.
Mm.
So I would, starting with our comprehensive career counseling program, that would be a bullet. For 5 years in a row, that would be a bullet. Commitment to excellent and continuing, we offer it. And that may be like a closing paragraph.
Okay.
Okay. And this is fairly recent too.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so you're a director. I noticed that you were director of career services. That's good.
You're going to see me move because my dog needs to go out.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, Kayla, seriously?
Of course.
What a beautiful name.
Yeah, normally she would just be all snoozy this time of night. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sweetie. Nope. Okay. Too cold? I agree.
Yeah, so if you're thinking of maybe some highlights for your summary, then you have them down here. I don't see any harm in not necessarily repeating the accomplishments, but alluding to them and then going into more detail in the experience area.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, how far back on your resume do you go for work history?
I think just there because prior to that, Director of Career Services. So before that, I was actually at the community college longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I did Oh, I ran a bunch of grant-funded programs like workforce training things, wrote grants for companies to get funding from the state. I did student activities for a year. I did a career counseling program that we offered at high schools. And then my first job out of college, I was a juvenile probation officer.
Ooh, interesting.
So I made a significant career switch myself.
I think I read that in your introduction.
Yeah. So I don't go all the way back.
So what did you do in between these two stints at Northampton Community College?
Why, is there a gap? Did I do the dates wrong?
Yeah, there's a gap because it goes from 1991 to 1992.
Oh, because I think it was like the end of one year and the beginning of the next. So I should change that because there's no gap.
Yeah, so change that. In that way, these two will be joined rather than just looking like two.
Oh, is that why they're not joined? Okay.
Yeah, you see this line right here?
Yes. What does that line mean?
Well, that's actually something nice that LinkedIn did, because instead of having, like two Lafayette College logos,
okay,
just have one, and this indicates that you had a prior position.
Okay, got it.
So yeah.
Okie doke. Thanks.
And so when you do that, then these two are going to be joined, and this logo will go away.
Okay, great. Thanks.
That would be good. Okay, so I was telling Belinda, is there anything that you did while you were in school which would indicate some strong, character traits? And one example, I always ask my workshop attendees, have any of you completed a degree while you were working full time? So hands will go up. I'll say, well, that's something you should mention in your experience area, because, that shows good time management skills, dedication, and so forth. So anything of interest, So
I'm just wondering, because my education is so long ago, at this stage of my career, does it matter? So I got my master's degree while I was working full time. I worked 3 part-time jobs while I got my undergraduate degree full time.
Yeah, no.
But that was, a million years ago. So I don't know that anybody cares about that. I did put dates on the positive psychology certificate because it was more recent, and I thought it was significant to show that I went back to school, to complete a rigorous program, more recently.
You have these are more like trainings, right?
They are, but they were things that were sort of significant trainings and things that tie into what I do. So I use character strengths a lot in the work that I do. I've actually had a lot of training through the VIA Institute, more than I should have. Some I should add.
So mindfulness, are you and Jim collaborating on any kind of mindfulness?
No, we're not, but I use mindfulness with my clients because, nobody ever calls me when they're happy and unstressed. Sure. They only call me when they're unhappy and very stressed. So I often incorporate that for people.
Yeah, and this is very recent stuff. So
yeah.
I take it that you could, since you don't have any, although you do here, you want to keep the degrees at the top. That's true.
Right. So I don't know, would it be worth it to maybe mention some of the other things somewhere in the summary? I don't know.
Yeah, but like I said, you only have so much space.
Right.
So, yeah, these in themselves could be good highlights. Good things to mention in the summary, because let's face it, when they get down to the experience area, what they're really going to be honing in on is your master's and your BA in psychology, and may not even think to click show more. Yeah, so if you have space, then you may want to mention all the certifications you've earned in your area.
Yeah, I think I mentioned 1 or 2, but when I revamp the summary and maybe if I tighten it up, I forget. I think I'm pretty much at the word limit, but it might be worth calling some of those out in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. So what I would suggest is that, I see you've entered a lot of skills here. I would start really endorsing other people for their skills.
So I used to do that,
Hmm.
and people used to endorse me. And then a few years ago, I just read a bunch of articles about how useless the skills are on LinkedIn. And, people endorse you for things that, don't really matter to you, et cetera. And then I just sort of stopped endorsing people. And I think I turned it off to not allow people to endorse me. So
Okay.
if I should be changing my attitude about that,
Well, first of all,
I need to understand why.
yeah, first of all, the skills are not useless. Maybe the endorsements are,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all about perception.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you show more endorsements, then people are going to think you're stronger in those skills. When
Mm-hmm.
in fact, you're right. I mean, anyone can endorse you for anything, whether they've seen you do it or not.
Right.
But again, it's all about perception. So um, I think people now have the idea that you prefer not to be endorsed, because
Right.
otherwise you would have endorsements.
I did. I had a lot of endorsements.
Well, they're still there. You just have to turn them on.
Right.
So, okay, good. So you've written recommendations as well as given. Good.
Right. But I don't, I'm just not,
Received.
I don't ask, even if with my clients, like one of the directories I'm in really encourages you to have reviews. I'm really bad about asking people for reviews.
Well, it's kind of hard to ask people for reviews after you've taken their money. Um,
Yeah. And
I
for
have the same
this, I would never have clients. And I say that right in my summary. I would never ask clients to do recommendations on LinkedIn. I just think it's a violation of their privacy. So the way the reviews work on the directory that I'm in, it's just first name, last initial, and the job title is sort of a generic job title. Like it would say, nonprofit professional or
Right,
higher
right.
ed professional, and then maybe a city and state. And, I only ask people, that I think are just, so over the top and appreciative of the work that we've done together that, maybe they would take the time to do it. But even then, I'm
I
really
get
bad
that.
about
I get
asking.
that. Yeah. I don't, have the courage to ask any of my clients for recommendations, because after all, having taken their money, I feel like that's enough.
Right.
Let's see. So organizations, I know there's more information you can provide under organizations.
There is?
I know there is. Um,
Hmm.
Let me see, because I do have organizations for some of my accomplishments. Yeah, right here. Okay, see this? So
Oh.
you can add description
Oh, interesting.
at
Okay.
the very least. I mean, you can describe what the organization is all about.
Okay.
Ooh, that reminds me, I need to change this because the name of our career center has changed. You must have some publications, right? Any kind of journals you've
I
published in?
only recently the last 2 years I published, I wrote book reviews for the
Yeah.
career development, adult career development network journal, some long name like that. Yeah. So I just did a review of a book in December, and I did one the year before, but I love to write. I just haven't taken the time to write. I helped edit a couple books for idealist.org and stuff years ago. I just haven't
Really?
done stuff recently.
That
Yeah.
I think I would mention somewhere. Yeah. It wouldn't come under publication, but I think that is something I would mention. Project. Okay, so
Yeah. So that's where I have it. Yeah.
okay, so I would elaborate more on this.
Okay. So would you
What
put
is
that
your
under
role?
publications instead? I should probably put that under publications, right? Is there?
Book reviewer for career development. I don't know, because I think when you say publications, you imply that you wrote it.
Original copy.
Original copy, yeah.
Right.
I to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that, but I think project is a good place to list it.
Okay.
Again, something you might want to mention in your summary, but
Okay,
we only have so much space.
right.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, I never come down this far on anything. Oh, there's idealist work.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in this group too. I used to be in this group. I see you're wearing a Cape Cod sweatshirt. Do you go to the Cape often?
Oh, actually, sorry. I was out shoveling ice earlier today,
Huh?
really late this afternoon. I actually, for many years, vacationed on Martha's Vineyard every
Oh,
year for
nice.
like a
Nice.
gazillion years, like
Right.
30 years. So no, this was a desperation. It was cold one night when I was getting the boat and I had to buy a sweatshirt. So no, I'm not usually on Cape Cod, but on one of the islands.
All right. Okay, so I was talking to Belinda. Belinda, you still there?
I am still here.
Oh, you're such a good camper. So I was talking to her about bullets,
Right.
and what you may want to do is um, get better looking bullets.
Okay.
You know, these asterisks. This is what happens when you copy and paste from Word to your profile is your nice bullets turn into these little dots. So what I would suggest is that I kind of like diamonds, right? Um, or you can use sideways triangles. That's another thing. And all you do really, Linda, is all you do is you just copy and paste it to your profile.
Copy and paste it from the Word doc?
No, from
Oh.
anyone. Here, let me give you an example of a good person to do this from. Jesus, Bob, what's going on here? Let me find the keyboard here. Okay. Okay, so Donna Serdula. And she loves it when people do this because then she gets a lot of visits to her profile. But in any case, see under experience here, if I see more, she gives you all these types of silly characters.
Oh,
I
interesting.
mean, really, who's gonna? Oh, I don't know, Linda. Maybe you would like something like this, where you're dealing with psychology and families. I don't know if you. Well, in any case, here is what I would focus on are the traditional bullets.
Right.
You know,
that's pretty cool.
And so I like the arrows too. I like the stars.
Mm-hmm.
You can really mix it up. Oh, wow, she went to a smaller kind of square to separate the points. Okay, so let me just go back to. Okay, so yeah, I like the in terms of the separating the
vertical bar.
I like the vertical bar. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always recommend to people.
Right, but you have a branding statement.
Right, which I'm not sure I'm going to keep that. I might just change that.
I like branding statements. That's if you're not if you're really not invested in being found.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it this way: if you were, say, looking for a job, right, you're actively seeking, then I would encourage anyone to use a keyword-based, headline. I would really encourage that because that's how employers look for people. They type
right, but what about clients finding me? Because clients don't find me on LinkedIn. And I have other friends who, well, two, one that's no longer in private practice and one who is a very small private practice. They both, that's primarily how people found them. So maybe they were more active in posting things. I'm not sure.
That may be the case. I mean, like I said, it's a combination of the three. What you may consider doing is you may consider reaching out to some of your closest contacts and asking them if they want to form a pod. And so what a pod is a group of people who write posts almost every day and announce to the group that they wrote a post. The group then likes or comments on the post. So eventually your posts are getting, so many hits. so many likes that, it's silly. So you
Right.
may want to do that. I think in your case, Linda, I think you need more support right now, from from your network.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would, again, think of your closest connections, maybe 5 or 6,
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, would you like to get together and create this pod?
Right.
And the application is called WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's one word, WhatsApp.
Right.
And WhatsApp, that's where you would, first create that pod, and
Mm-hmm.
then that's where you would gather online. And it's not only about posting, it's not only about sharing long posts, but it may also be about exchanging ideas. And so they may have some good ideas for you.
Right. Yeah. So I'm kind of in a group like that with Jim.
Mhm.
It's a group of career counselors. There's like 10 of us, I think. And we have a monthly Zoom meeting. But it's not set up through WhatsApp. But
Yeah,
we
no.
do,
This is
yeah,
different. This
some
this
different
this
stuff.
actually takes a lot of work,
Okay.
you know. Um, yeah. And if you're good to each other, then you don't share posts every day. It's maybe like once a week.
Right.
Because when someone shares a post, then you're expected to like it for sure, and then maybe make a comment.
Right. So, and those are the people that I do watch for. So if I see Jim or Alana or one of the other people that's in the group, I definitely watch for their posts. And
Yeah,
those
yeah,
tend to be
absolutely.
ones that I would, take the time to comment on. Not that I wouldn't for other people in my network, but I know for them it's really important because they're hoping to build their business. So,
Exactly. And the other thing, and I know you weren't crazy about this, is you have to put your email address somewhere on your profile so people can contact you.
I hear you. I have it
Because otherwise, how
stored.
are they going to know how to contact you?
They have to Google me and then I'll come up.
No. So those are just some of my suggestions, but
Yeah,
I'm going to think on
that's
this
great.
because, I am getting a lot of activity from LinkedIn. That's where I get most of my business.
Really?
Referrals too.
Yeah, I get it.
You got to have a referral network as well.
Yeah, I get a lot of referrals from local therapists and
Yeah,
actually from previous clients.
yeah.
So,
But both of you have very strong profiles, and I think, Linda, both of you, I think what you need to do is be more. You need to promote yourself more. That's what I mean.
right. Okay.
You know what I mean? So on the 4th week, we're going to really look at promotion, and we're going to go crazy about engaging with others.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what I have for you two. Do you have any questions?
No, I've got a couple of pages of notes.
I just have a question. If we could circle back to the groups thing again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I like today I was trying to explain the value of groups to these early career professionals.
It's a hard
And
sell.
yeah, so, the people in your groups come up as third connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still, but you cannot reach out to them directly, or you can if they're in your group.
Well, here's the thing. So this is one group I'm in. It's writing on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, gosh, I've changed the look and feel of this so many times. I don't even know what to
It
do.
makes me crazy.
It's
Yeah.
like, how do you search for someone in this group? They don't want people to find each other, it seems, because in the old days, you used to be able to type in some kind of occupation, and then people who fell under those occupations would be in line, and then you could communicate with third degree connections
Right.
directly. I gotta be honest with you, I haven't gone to groups in so long. And
I used to have, so I'm a member of a lot of groups, but I had probably 4 or 5 groups where I got the weekly digest of activity.
Yeah.
so I could see what were people writing about, talking about, and then I'd go in and, you know, comment or answer people's questions or offer advice if it was asked for. And I just really miss that. I feel like I used to find out about a lot of great conferences and resources, and I just really miss that feature. And I think as a result, I'm less active on LinkedIn because that was really one of the things that I professionally that I got from LinkedIn was the networking through the groups.
Let's see. Yeah, you can't even search for them through all filters.
Wow, that's crazy.
You can search, and I see I typed in project manager.
Right.
So I want to hopefully find project managers in a group, but there's no access to the groups.
What if you add third connection as a filter? Will that bring you people that are in groups?
Oh, just bring me third degree connections.
Oh, and
There
so
are
you
8
wouldn't,
million.
so you wouldn't know whether they're third degree connections because they're in a group or because they're third degree connections.
No, I know they're just third degree connections
Oh,
because there's no way I can find groups. You know, that's the thing I used to like about groups is that you could find people in the groups really easily. And it became more difficult, but now it's almost impossible, it seems.
right. And so now if you want to participate in the group conversations, you have to consciously go to the groups
Go to the group, yeah.
Yeah.
and go in and participate. There's no way that a daily feed or a weekly feed comes to. So, I mean, do you think they're just going to get rid of it altogether, or what's the?
I think so.
I just
They're
honestly,
letting it die a slow death.
well, because yeah, I feel like the changes that Microsoft has made since they purchased LinkedIn have mostly all been negative. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer here, but
It's just between us, you know.
yeah.
No, I in my workshops I'll sometimes vent and I'll say, look, you know, LinkedIn is a very good tool and can help you in your job search, but you know, it does have some faults.
So do you still recommend to people that they join groups or not? How do you handle that?
I don't even touch it.
You don't?
Nope.
Don't anymore?
Nope.
But doesn't it still expand your connections?
No. And the reason I say that is because not enough people are using groups.
Wow.
No, the number has dropped significantly. That being said, it looks like there's some pretty good activity going on in this group.
Which
So
one is
what
that?
group? This is writing on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
So what groups have turned into essentially are places where you can share updates. But basically, it's like your timeline, except it's within a group.
Yes, and that's really what they always were. That's what I loved about them. But now it's this other general timeline that's just all these people in your network. And so some of the people in my network, you know, work for Deloitte or Goldman Sachs, you know, and they're talking about finance stuff. And I'm like, okay, I like that you're posting things. That's great. But I'm not really interested in what you're posting because that's not my thing. It's just that I have a lot of people in my network that
Well, then
work in those industries.
this is perfect for you, Linda. I mean, if you just want to communicate with people who do the same things that you do, then do it in your groups. It's like, are you on Facebook?
No.
Oh, Facebook has wonderful groups.
No, not on Facebook, and I don't regret not being on Facebook.
No, I don't know. I'm not saying you need to. I'm just saying that, you know,
Yeah.
they know how to do groups.
Right. So, but if you're active on these groups in terms of posting and commenting and sharing information, that doesn't count toward your rankings as that daily timeline feed thing, right? Yeah. No. Okay.
I just don't have the time. I mean, I find I get more activity on my timeline than I do in groups. And although you're allowed to, you know, you're allowed to join up to 100 groups, but you can't maintain 100 groups.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Do you think joining groups and having them visible. I know you say people don't usually get to the bottom of the page, but do you think that lends some credibility to the work that you do because you're a member of Writing on LinkedIn, or you're a member of a career counseling consortium or something? Or do you think that doesn't matter?
I think it, you know, if people bother to go that far down,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think many people do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest with you, just because I was critiquing your profiles, that's the only reason why I went down to interest. Otherwise, I wouldn't even look, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, you know, we can talk about this, further, but right now I need to, use the restroom. So I'm going
Got
to
it.
sign off, ladies. Okay.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Thanks so
All
much,
right.
Bob.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Good night, Belinda.
Good night,
Good
Linda.
night, Belinda.
Have a good night.
All right.